Friday night is a great time for some good news. Amari Fountain, you are a Florida Gator.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of Locked On Podcast Network. I am Brandon Olsen. Amari Fountain is a Florida Gator. And before we talk about that, this is Moving the Game Forward by Mazda. For those who know, the score never tells the whole story. And you know what? I'm not going to shout a player out right now. I'm going to shout out a coaching staff that says, hey, yeah, we haven't coached a game yet in Gainesville. But you know what we are doing in Gainesville? Getting commits, working hard, making things happen. The all-new Mazda CX-5 moves the same way with more space to connect, a bold new design, and more intuitive technology so you can stay connected to the road and every position you play. The all-new Mazda CX-5, more to move every side of you. And the Florida Gators landed a commitment from Aamaury Fountain after flipping him from South Carolina, which isn't necessarily surprising, right? We've been talking about Aamaury Fountain for a couple months now at this point on Locked On Gators. And every time, which he committed to South Carolina on January 2nd of this year, every time we've talked about him, I've said the same thing, which is, yes, he is committed to South Carolina. However, that commitment means nothing to me because I personally don't believe that the South Carolina coaching staff is going to be the South Carolina coaching staff through the season. Right? I don't personally believe that they are going to keep their jobs. I don't have faith in that coaching staff. A large part of that is because they did indeed lose to Billy Napier every time they played him. And they are the only coaching staff that could say that played him multiple times. I think that matters, right? I mean, we've seen that South Carolina team show up sometimes and completely disappear at times. We've seen that happen a lot. I don't think Shane Beamer is going to be an SEC head football coach for long. And so Amari Fountain and all the other South Carolina commits, to me, are open season. And I think that Amari Fountain was a huge one, right? You look at his rankings, which again, like I personally don't care much for rankings, but I do think that they're worth acknowledging because people do have value in them, right? And even if I don't value them, you might. And so he is on Rivals a 4-star, the 25th player in the country, 4th corner, 3rd player in the state of Georgia. He is on 24/7 unranked nationally, but 39th corner, 46th player in the state of Georgia, because he's from Warner Robins. On ESPN, he is 281st nationally, 27th corner, 34th player in the state of Georgia. And the Rivals composite has him as 135th overall, 17th corner, 14th player in the state of Georgia. And we've had this conversation before. I think that Rivals is right in this case. I also think that ESPN and 24/7, whenever they update their rankings, will be much closer. Maybe not 25th overall, but will be much closer to what Rivals currently has him as nationally. Because I think that he's got the physical traits that you talk about, and you go, all right, like that's a dude, right? Like that's someone that you look at and you say that's I don't want to say program changer because I don't think that exists really at corner. I think you could say that maybe at like quarterback or something like that, but or edge rusher, but I don't think you say at a corner receiver. No. But I do think when you say, hey, does this guy have the elite physical traits to be a dude, to be a true corner one in the SEC? I think you watch the film and you can answer that question for yourself if you watch the film. But I have a pretty firm belief that if you watch this film, you'll go, yep, yeah, that guy has the elite physical traits. He's 6'3", 182 pounds. And I will say that, yes, he is a little bit, I'm going to say high-hipped. But every 6'3" corner is high-hipped. You know why? Because they're 6'3". Okay. So a little high hipped, obviously would like him to get a little bit lower, but I don't think it's a problem if you watch them and you say, okay, yeah, he's a little high hipped, but he's also fluid as hell. When he flips his hips, you don't really see much of a delay or much of an issue there. So I think you say, hey, size is there, obviously. Length is there because the size is there, right? I think he's a fluid mover. Again, with his hips, he flips them really easily. And he's just an overall really good athlete. He looks fast. He looks like he could jump pretty high. I don't know how, and maybe this is because I've only watched his 2025 film, but I don't know how people could watch what Amari Fountain has put on film and think anything other than this is a very highly ranked kid. This is a very talented kid with an insane ceiling, and we should be high on him. We spoke about this. I think it was March 10th. I want to say was the day that the episode came out, where we talked about, hey, Florida, Amari Fountain. That's the kind of guy you swing for the fences for, because if you do get him to hit, you're looking at a truly elite corner. We're going to talk more about that when we get back with Locked On Gators. It's tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes is a lot. Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, and wondering if they really get your situation. But this year, you're getting a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert, and your documents get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting a real person, walking out knowing your taxes are being handled right. Head to TurboTax.com/local and find a store near you to book your appointment. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for Sponsored Jobs. Indeed, Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location, so you're not just hoping that the right candidate stumbles across your post. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all of your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. And a listener of this show gets $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves. Go to Indeed.com/podcast. Tell them Locked On Gators sent you. Terms and conditions apply. If you need to hire, this is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Thanks again for Locked On Gators, your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free with the podcast and on YouTube. And Amari Fountain is a Florida Gator in the 2027 class. And again, this is one of those things where this week you've added Maxwell Hiller, arguably the best offensive lineman, arguably the best player in the class, almost unanimously the best offensive lineman in the class. Brian Smith of Locked On the Portal has him as player one overall. You've added Davin Davidson, who, if you get him right, could be your quarterback of the future in Gainesville. And then now you've added Aamaury Fountain, who, if you get him right, which I don't think that there's a lot of work needed to get him right from what I've seen, you're talking about a truly top corner in the class, top corner on your team. Again, like Amari Fountain, I'm not someone that is usually praising everybody, right? And David Davidson is someone that I'm not as high on as many are. Amari Fountain is someone that I think I'm higher on than anybody else. Again, you're talking about 6'3", 180 something pounds. I think when you watch his film, and we spoke about this whenever we watched his film for the first time and talked about him for the first time, that I think when you watch Amari Fountain's film, you can say, hey, he could be a really good corner, potentially elite corner. He could be an elite safety. And I only bring that up because I do think that when you have that size and the range that Aamaury Fountain has, then you go, all right, maybe safety is an option if we're going to play a lot of cover three, right? You could be that deep safety that just roams over top. However, all that being said, if you have someone that can play multiple positions, and we talked about this with Maxwell Hiller, we talked about this with Brian Smith the other day, where if you have someone that can play multiple positions, one of which being a premium position and one of which not, you play them at the premium position. And so Amari Fountain, as a corner, I think can play corner at a very high level in the SEC. I think he's someone that deserves more national talk. And I'm really happy that Florida's in on this before everyone really opens their eyes to him. I don't think it'll be easy to keep him. Not that this staff, it's not anything against this staff. It's not indicative of anything with this staff. It's just, I think that he's going to continue climbing up boards, getting more significant attention, getting more probably money thrown in his face. But I also think that he's someone that you just have to keep at this point. I mean, he is a stud right now. And projections started coming in, I'm going to say a couple days ago, maybe, is when I first saw the predictions coming in. He's someone that, I said in that March 10th episode, I don't know if he's going to be a Florida Gator, but I feel pretty confident that he's not going to be a South Carolina Gamecock. But I am really happy that he's going to be a Florida Gator. Again, high-end physical tools, traits, whatever you want to call them. The length, the height, the athleticism, the mentality that he has with the ball in the air. I think you watch Amari Fountain's film and you're going, all right, he's a dude. I'll say this. I am someone that was lower on Cormani McClain coming out of high school than everybody else. I like Amari Fountain's film more than I like Cormani McClain's film. And that could just be me. Again, I was lower on Cormani than everybody else. But I think you got Amari Fountain. And that is a dude that I'm like, all right, day one, he's playing. He can play man. He can play zone. That dude is playing football. Day one in the SEC. And I'm damn happy it's going to be in the orange and blue. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free. Whether it's the podcast and on YouTube for Locked On Gators. I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. We'll be back when we're back. Who knows what's going to happen this weekend? It's crazy. It's a great spring weekend, great spring game weekend. Who knows when we'll be back? It could be any day now, right? At the absolute latest, it'll be, I haven't decided if we're going to go live after the spring game whenever I get back to the room. But at the absolute latest, it'll be Monday. Can't wait. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work about the Florida Gators at swampsignal.substack.com. And I'll see you all next time.